Good evening. Today's information session, we will discuss cluster development. My name is Ella Gindi. I'm a planner 2 with the District of Lunenburg. So some background information. The reasoning for starting the regulations were there were a lack of existing regulations regarding that type of development. Their first reading passed in July 28th of 2025, but it expired in December after a 150 days period due to the idea that Council did not conduct second reading. Another first reading was reintroduced and passed in January 28th, 2025, and the public information session and hearing were done in March. Council requested the planning staff to provide an options report, and staff provided a revised MPS and LUB to cluster, which then followed a motion. The first reading passed on April 22nd. So what is M cluster development definition? It is consistent of 6 units or more dwelling within 2 or more dwellings on a single lot that is partially or entirely unserviced by municipal water or sewer. This includes new phases or units in phase development condominiums with a total of 6 or more dwelling units. Recreational vehicles are not considered to be cluster developments. Part of the regulations is to require 6 units and up, so a cluster development to go through a development agreement process. Part of a development agreement, council may consider individual proposals that will be based on adequacy of street network, site access, emergency access, and things like that. Also adequacy of services such as water and sewer, so see that there is enough water that can sustain the development. In addition, to see that there is suitability for other environmental impacts, such as not being developed too close to a stream, or that there's no habitats that are at risk in that specific lot. So after Council's request for revisions, those were some of the revisions that were done based on the report. So for Section 532, to provide exemptions for non-phase cluster developments. These developments are exempt from requiring a development agreement until December 31st of 2026, provided they submit a complete building permit application before that date. Following the public hearing on March 25th, some developers reached out and expressed interest in proceeding with a development agreement. However, without regulations that explicitly allow for this process, there is currently, because there's no policy framework that directs staff to do so, we introduced an additional subsection that recognizes that most large-scale developments, for example, land lease communities, development will not finish within the standard 12 months building permit timeframe. It enables developers who are aware of this to enter into a development agreement if they wish to do so. The DA can also help streamline the permitting process for the remaining units, as any building permits issued beyond the 12 months period will be subjected to the terms of the DA. And for the land use bylaw, the revision was done to the title, so in changing it from allowances to Braille or phase developments to also cluster developments. So the new title is non-conforming cluster developments. Project timeline, these projects started in 2023 with initial public engagement, staff reports, council workshops. Staff also provide other drafts, and the first reading, as I mentioned before, was done in 2024. After the current council sworn in, there was an additional 2 first readings and a public hearing. Today we're doing the public information session, and that would be followed by a public hearing on May 13th. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.